Do 3 hours of that.
Jonah Hill.
Hey, everybody, we are live. And this is not Wednesday. You don't have to adjust your thing. The good-looking guy is here.
So,
what we're doing, we are doing Comic Core on Friday night. We've got some great people here. First person I'm going to introduce is Miss Cat Run Cinema and Cinema Figures. Cat Run Figures, Cinema Figures. The hostess with the mostest. Cat Run and Mark. Go ahead.
You're muted, Cat.
of course.
Cat, can't hear you.
Not just me.
That happens to JB sometimes.
Happens to me all the time.
All right, so Cat, we can't hear you right now. Can't see what's going on. All right, my first day as host of Comic Core on Friday, and that's what happens. So let me just go to somebody who I know I'm not afraid to have to yell out right now. Is there somebody who's out there wearing a black beanie and being my man right now?
Man, that is right. I want to welcome everyone tonight to the show that has the host with the most. She's on mute, but y'all best not scoot. Stay in your seats because we got a great show for you tonight. Man, let me go up and down the line, and then I'll go to our special guests of the night. First off, from Comic Core Unlimited, y'all seen him 1/4 of the A-team. This is, it ain't Hannibal, but he looked like a George Papard, and I'm talking JD Comics. JD, thanks for coming in here tonight, representing the Unlimited in the Friday moonlight. Next up, we got the press from the Midwest, and I'm talking Paul, Midwest Comics. Midwest, how you doing, man?
I'm just chilling out, enjoying this fine weather, the same one that JD's loving out there. And we're ready to have a good old Friday night.
All right. Next up, we got Cat Ren / Cinema Figures and the superstar behind the camera, Mark BKR. How y'all doing tonight? Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
And the mute is the mute still good, so they can hear us, I think. So is the mute on the front of the Yeti?
Yeah, they can hear. There it goes.
Damn, mute button.
Blinking button. No.
It's not the old blinking Yeti button. Well, they're having some technical difficulties, but fans, don't fret. Y'all ain't seen nothing until we show you the next guy that we met. And his name is JB Discovery Bay. What's happening? The YouTube channel guide you need to see every morning, Monday through Saturday. And I'm talking JB. JB, how goes it tonight?
Great. The girls are on a play date that is going to turn into a sleepover. I know it because I packed a bag for them. So it is cocktail time. It is adult time. It is Comic Core time. And I'm ready for it tonight.
Awesome, man.
More.
And I've known y'all seen this guy. He goes live Wednesday nights. Lords of the Longbox, the host, the Doctor Strange fan. He's got the cloak of levitation on. I'm talking Tebow. What's happening, man?
First of all, thank you for calling it a cloak and not a cape. Okay, cloak, it's a cloak. And I'm coming at you.
I heard you, Cat.
No, Comic Core. Let's rock this. Let's do this.
Oh, awesome, Tebow. We're happy to have you here, man. And we finally got Cat Ren and Mark on the mic. What's happening, you two?
Hi. Technical difficulties.
Great to see.
I hit the wrong button.
Great to see both of you. And tonight, it looks like it's a different panel. Carson, he's running a little late. And, good old Chad, he's got some things going on in his personal life. So maybe a little gone too soon. But, hopefully, he'll get better and we'll see him soon. Sometimes it's hard in life, personal life, and things like that. But we're excited tonight because we're going to be talking comic books, and we got all kinds of cool topics. So who wants to start? Who wants to talk about their book that they read this week that knocked them off their feet?
Anybody?
I'll start.
All right, go for it. Yeah.
So,
I am not your tribute.
So Legend, when he invited me on yesterday or a couple days ago, he was like, we're going to talk about comics. And I just said, man, I am about 3 months behind. So I did my homework and I caught up on, I'm mostly a Marvel guy. So I didn't read much DC stuff. So typically I'm a big event guy, So believe it or not, I finally finished Avengers Far From Home with the Hercules storyline, which I really dug. And I don't know if anybody else has finished that yet, but man, there was a scene in there that just got me right in the heartstrings, man. Can I talk spoilers? I mean, everybody's seen it, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So this is probably, I don't know if this was written before or after Stan Lee's death, but obviously they were talking about Stan Lee when I don't want to give away too many spoilers, right? When they go to the home in Long Island, and I'm assuming that's either the home of Stan Lee, because it was the one above all. And man, that pulled right at your heartstrings. If you didn't feel something when you read that, you're just dead inside, man. I really, really enjoyed that. I thought it was what was the name? It was the goddess of darkness from the Greek mythos, right? Whatever her name, I forgot her name. She was one of the Olympians, right? So basically, she wants to devour darkness. There's a metaphor in there about how only light can defeat the darkness, right? And while I was reading all these Marvel books, I was like, man, it's great that right in like the beginning pages, they put a Stan Lee soapbox in there. You got to read everything, all the old school Stan Lee soapboxes. And then as you read the story, it kind of sees the metaphor about how, hope and light and all that. I don't know. I'm getting a little mushy in my old age, but that's what I took from it, right? They didn't come out and say that was Stan Lee's house, but I think if you know comics history enough, Stan Lee's house, the one above all, of course, is the name of the one true deity in Marvel, the creator. So they put all those together, and I think it's a nice homage to Stan Lee. So I think that was a great read, man. A really great read.
Dude, that is so
publishing
kick-ass.
schedule. With the publishing schedule, I would say that was probably written right around the time that he passed away.
Yeah, that was the No Road Home was just kind of get you in the feels a little couple of times about that. That was one of my favorite of the series. And now Al Ewing, he does Immortal Hulk, but I think this was I like this more than I like a Immortal Hulk. I love the Avengers No Road Home. Absolutely agree with that. Good job.
Man, that's kick-ass. Before we check the chat, I want to know where Discovery Bay is at in his reading. Discovery, did you read any new books this week? Or if not, though, I know.
Not a chance.
He's so
No
busy,
way.
fans. The work he puts in.
Well, after he was told today how many hours he spends a month.
I was shocked. I hope my wife doesn't watch that episode. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah, so no, I'm way behind on my reading, definitely. Which is why one of the new things that I had highlighted was, and I don't know how you guys feel about these when a channel does a review on a book. There are books that I know I wasn't going to buy. I'm not going to read those. But when someone's doing a review on whatever, I'm like, hey, let me just watch this. I'm going to catch the whole thing in 3.5, 4 minutes and catch images and everything. So I watched a couple of those.
Dude, I'm right along with you. I remember I used to watch this guy, Roger69501, to read all the DC tie-in stuff that I didn't pick up. And so I was getting my good info there. Well, you know what? We got JD here. JD, you're from the C team. Why don't you check the chat? Because it starts with C.
All right, let me start out with everybody. I can see right now if I repeat or do anything else. Leave me alone. We got Mastodon, Donnie, Comics and Collecting. We have Robert, the G-Spot Galvin, saying hello to all his peeps out there. His favorite show of the week. We'll have a word about that. There's a good one on Wednesdays, too. Caleb, Comic Murphy, one of our favorite people, one of the youngest, most highest, brightest, most energetic person in the chat. Absolutely, for sure. Lords of the Longbox themselves are here, and we have representing them. We also have here David, SMNC. Very excited to have his buddy Tim on here. Off-White, how we doing? We got Comics with Bueller. Had Discovery Bay on earlier on a great little community shout-out right there. We have here Joe Ryan Comics. Everybody loves Joe Ryan Comics. Joe Ryan put out some great stuff recently. I love this video. Actually, it came out.
He's got excellent reviews, too. Joe
Great
Ryan.
I want to, before I didn't get to say it in my introduction, but I thought this was my second time on the core, but I think the core, there's so many damn core members, but I'm thinking now the first time I was on here was with some other cats and it was part of Batcave.
Yeah, reviews from the Batcave.
Exactly. Yeah. And some of the core members were in that one as well, if I remember.
That was the original. That was pretty much the original core back then.
All right, so I'm not losing. All right, just making sure.
We got
are just not about that.
We have Count Von Strange the Fourth in the chat, who did a great little figure unboxing today as well. Sam was, yes,
and a Fanboy Fight Club champion, Count Von
Nice.
Strange.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that.
Comic Book Fiend. Definitely want to get them on sometime. TJ, the Slab Dragon Watson.
TJ.
They're very good. We've got here also, we've got Comic Tom. Very good to see you, Comic Tom. How's everything going on your side? We've got here Bake the Snake himself right there, our buddy from Key Largo down there. Of course, Cat Wren, she chimed in after she could fix her mute problem. That's good. That was real nice. Then we've got Comic Knight. How we doing? Mr. Gretzky 9966. That's Gretzky and Gretzky again. I'm not going to give Mary Lemieux any credit. We got Stay Puff 1983 in the chat as well. That's going really, really good. There we've got. I think I'm getting everybody. John's Comics with Kids, one of the best shows out there. Out of my Saturday mornings right now. Nothing like hearing a hangover with two other screaming kids. It's great. And then we've here JLS Comics, Cloaking and Smoking. I love that. That's nice. Cloaking and Caping and Vaping. That's what we call it right there.
I love that stuff. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Legend. I had to do a little rhyme.
That's a good one.
The Boy Who Had Seven is there. Our good buddy Matt doing very well over there. Thoro Q Boro, one of the young bucks that are coming up with ridiculously good stuff, content coming up. Man, imagine we were that good in our third video we ever did. Damn. I think I'm almost caught up with everybody. Just a Rican in his comics. Hello. Very good to see him. Another pretty down there. But he's a Phillies fan, so we'll let that slide. Drew Manchu. And Drew is here to say hello to you. Very nice. AG Surfer, how we doing there? Got Winter Soldier on the background. Very good movie. My favorite. See you. Very cool.
Love that movie.
We got Paul. Hi, Paul. Paul's in the chat.
Gee, thanks.
And that's about where I guess we're caught up. So how's that?
Did you catch Metarog?
Oh, I did not get Roger. I didn't see Roger. Roger, how you doing? Roger's one of the highlights for anybody who does contest videos. He enters everybody's contest. He tells you about everybody's contest. He keeps it updated. Without that, he's like the Discovery Bay, tells you what's on every day. And once a week, Metarog comes in and says, go out and win some free books and free stuff. Enjoy.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Speaking of free books, JD, did you read any free books this week, or what was your favorite read, my friend?
I did not. Well, free. They are what they are. Much to like Avengers No Road Home, War of the Realms is killing it right now. I got the two connecting covers. War of the Realms is something I've been waiting for. It made me go back and grab an old Avengers 14, not the original 14, but talked about here. There's a portion. This is the only one that I recognize the tie-in from. This was that vampire issue that came around there. Really good stuff right there. And the book, in my opinion, the indie or the non-DC book, that's the best out there right now. I know everybody loves Die. Everybody loves Stray Cat Strut or whatever that other one there is going out there. I'm not really sure of that one. I'm going to recommend Criminal for anybody who likes history of comics because this is a great story. The guy's just bananas, and I'm a big fan of anybody who makes references to Steranko and Wally Wood. You know, good stuff.
I will read anything Brubaker and Phillips do.
Absolutely, it's a great combination.
I have a variant of that Criminal that is a Master of Kung Fu Werewolf variant.
That sounds.
I got to find that. It was they're magazine sites, right?
No, these are normal, I think.
No, but I had the Criminal. They came out with a variant.
They get the big one, like the old.
Yeah. It's a Master of Kung Fu Werewolf variant. It's super weird, and I got to get Master of Kung Fu, so I snatched it. If I find it later, I'll see if I can post it on here.
Is this guy in the back look a little bit like Comics Mix Explained in Baltimore, wearing a mask out of nowhere? There's a dog.
The dog mask.
Hey, Liz, actually, my wife is here, and she's going to say something she read. She wanted to share it. What did you read? Bring it up. What did you read this week? And she did read it, and this is support to a guy in the community. Anybody know what this is?
Missing Pieces.
By Alex Keating. If Alex Keating know, that's White Whale Comics, everybody.
Oh,
nice.
That's right. Yeah.
Saw the issues, and she's like, I want to read this book. It looks interesting. And what'd you think?
So first off,
Mike.
Alec is probably one of my favorite people to watch on YouTube.
That's cool. He's a great guy.
He just has that dry, funny humor that I just find hilarious. And so there's a lot of that actually in this book. So even if John and his name wasn't up here, I would have probably guessed that he was the writer of this. So if you find Alex as hilarious and fun to watch as I do, you're gonna love this book. So I read all 3 back to back to back, and it's great. And I like it a lot.
There you go.
That is freaking awesome. I tell you what, the natural Alec Whitewell Comics is one of the best, isn't he, JD?
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites. Hey, Kat, what have you been reading?
Well, I'm a little behind as to the new books because Midtown Comics and my local post office seem to hate each other.
Oh.
So I'm going to be getting my next shipment probably tomorrow.
That Saturday.
But I did pick up a new steelbook this week. So Justice League versus the Fatal Five.
Very cool. Do that.
Definitely, I would say if you're a Jessica Cruz fan, this is definitely a movie for you.
Awesome.
Spider Grandpa, then, huh?
Really pushing Jessica Cruz. Kind of trying to push Miss Martian. I feel like her character, they kind of took a lot of Supergirl and like threw it into Miss Martian for this movie. I feel like her personality was a little off for me, but still a pretty good movie all in all. And it's the OG kind of Justice League Unlimited look to it with the artwork and Kevin Conroy's Batman. So
that's awesome. How about
I
you?
do like that.
Also, if you're a fan of Legion of the Superheroes,
yes,
there's a lot of them in that as well. I saw it's one of the better DC animated films that's come out in a while.
Damn.
DC kills it with the animated ones, though.
Do you freaking see? How about you, Mark? Have you been enjoying watching this stuff with Kat?
Yeah, from staying awake for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah,
he
Mark
stayed
gets
awake
tired.
during this one.
Yeah, he fell asleep during the Shazam movie. Oh man,
I know that was such a downfall on my part. I cannot believe I did that.
He fell asleep during Shazam, but he stayed awake during Hellboy.
I almost fell asleep.
Well, Hellboy is pretty bombastic, though. It's hard to sleep through that. It's kind of
Boom explosion.
Boom Studios, Boom Explosions. Hey, Paul Midwest, what have you had any time to do any reading? And if you haven't done any reading, what you been pressing lately, man?
Well, first off, since he sent a link to us, I'm going to share out. This is the cover that Tebow was talking about.
That's freaking awesome. The Deadly Hands of Criminal.
Yeah. I had no idea what Criminal was, but I bought it as soon as I saw it because it has like an homage to the old Deadly Hands of Kung Fu magazine. So that's the one I bought.
So I've been pressing some early Spider-Mans, but I was inspired by Carson and Legend, and I'm starting to reread my Animal Man Morrison run.
So good. You'll probably beat me before I even finish.
Yeah, and JD will be happy to hear I finished my read through of Planet Comics #5 and recorded the video. I just got to edit it now for my next Inside the Covers episode. And I did some catching up on some Frazetta covers, so part 2 of that's going to be coming next week too.
Very excited about that. I love his Rosetta. I love all of Paul's. Has got some of the best artist review series. Him and Alec, when Alec did his, those were great. Alec, do more. And hey, you've been focusing in on some of my favorite golden age and silver age artists. I love that. Good stuff.
That's it. On this week, it's been a very busy week on the Comic Core. Monday night, we had Alec, the Natural, Whitewell Comics going live with a great group of guys. We had Caleb on there. We had John on there. Who else was on there, JD?
On Monday or on
Monday's show?
Monday was Comic Head 84.
That's it. See, yeah, Comic Head 84. And they were reading about Why the Last Man.
Yep. Well, they're up. They did the first 5 issues, I think. They're doing the next 6 to 10 next Thursday, I think.
And what was going on Tuesday, JD? You was hosting a new show.
Yeah, we'd had the Golden guys on there with the legend himself right there, DS Comics as well, and the Knights of Old. First inaugural issue episode out there. We really enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people in the chats, and a lot of people reaching out to us wanting to be guests. Definitely, we're going to be hitting you guys up. We're real excited about continuing that series on an every other week basis.
Man, most definitely. And then on Wednesday, the A team, they say Comic-Core Unlimited. Man, we have JD with that Comic Spectre. We got freaking God, my mind's going blank. John's Comics with Kids and Gone Too Soon himself. Jason, Comics Just Explained. And then Thursday night, man, 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
You can't jump ship. You're stuck with Friday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, JD. We're gonna need you on Friday now. So it's kind of like with our good friend Chad. Now we have JD. It's like Becky Lynch. She's the SmackDown champion and she's the Raw champion. So it's like we got JD on the Raw and the SmackDown show of Comic-Core. So JD, thanks again so much for coming here on short notice and everything like that. Thursday night, we had a kick-ass premiere. If you're a big fan of Game of Thrones, you could see Season 8, Episode 1 review from Cinema Figures, Karen Figures, Caitlin herself, which was awesome. And tonight, Friday, we got this show. Tomorrow, we got Carson Woodard hosting the Comic-Core live auction. So make sure y'all are all good for that as well. So
hey, Legend.
What else? What else is happening, man?
You were asking about what I'm pressing?
Yeah.
Well, this weekend I'm going to be doing some comic book royalty.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me check this thing. Can you show us yet?
Yeah, I'll put it up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know that one. I know TiVo knows these books too.
Oh yeah. Somebody spotlight the camera on him so we
we got Surfer number 3.
Oh hell yeah, first Mephisto.
Yeah.
What kind of condition do you think that is? After the bath.
That one's gonna be at least a 9.0 probably by the time I'm done.
Nice.
That one
Nice.
Wow.
Hard with the there you go, buddy. Strange Tales 110. And do not say Paste Pot Pete, goddammit. That's Dr. Strange.
That's my book. I'll call it Paste Pop Pete if I call it Paste Pop Pete.
And
It's
last
a Paste Pot Pete book, man.
last but not least.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that one. Oh, I've seen that
Damage,
one before.
but still my first ever. That's mine. It looks great, right?
She's like, that looks pretty good. And you're like, that's mine.
I think you can get it to about a 4.5, 5.5. What do you think?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, of course, just a couple also ran.
The book is undervalued, man. Avengers. I mean, everybody's been buying up Fantastic Four and X-Men #1, but Avengers 1 has kind of been, off to the wayside of it. I think it's great value in that book.
Oh, absolutely.
I was like, this look familiar.
Yeah. Yep, they used to be on the wall behind me, but now I ship them off to Paul because they're going to be part of my next CGC. I have a bunch of stuff going out there. I thank Paul and anybody. I'm going to tell you right now what I just saw, not even in person. Paul's worth every penny, and he's a great presser and cleaner. He doesn't just take care of your books; he bathes your books. He doesn't clean your books; he takes them to the bath.
That's right, man. He keeps it clean and he keeps them lean. And when the books come back from the CGC, they look mean because he sent them to them. And he's the best press in the Midwest. So CBC, CBCS, all those groups better recognize and have a good time when they grade the books graded by the Midwest Comic Man. I got to ask JB from Discovery Bay Comics something real quick. JB, for all the Comic-Core people in the chat, tell us about your channel and some of the stuff you do.
Oh, what do I do? Okay. If you're not watching, hopefully you are. There's about 100 to 125 really loyal subscribers who actually watch the show. And what the show does, 2 things. One, I listen and watch a lot of YouTube. And I'm going to give you somewhere between 2 to 4 of just my top picks with some snippets of the content, so you get a feel for it, and then a link so you can jump to it. And the links are working. I'm looking at the numbers, and they're actually working, which is great. I also, every day, everybody that I'm putting in the show, I've got links to their channels in the description with little timestamp jumps, so you can just kind of jump right to them if you want to know. If you see Kat's on there, and you want to hear, get the little what's going on with Kat, boom, you jump to her time and you'll hear just my little spot on her spot the next day.
Oh, I love
those
are
some things that we're doing. I looked at some of the analytics, and I don't know if you guys noticed, I redesigned the whole layout because I'm really 60-something% on a mobile device, so I really had to make it look better in the mobile device experience. And hopefully it looks good because the views are saying that it is. So between the recap, telling you, weeding out, there's a lot of good content. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of not so good content too that you probably don't really want to watch. I get it all because I'm subscribed to everybody, and I kind of click through a bunch of them. So I give you my top choices, which is big, and then I kind of give you the rundown of really what's live, and then whatever somebody said they were going to premiere, or somebody sent me and said, "Hey, I'm going to put this out around this time." So I give you a little rundown there.
Dude, that is freaking awesome, JB. And now I want to ask the same question to TiVo. TiVo, what do you do over there on your channel, Lords of the Longbox, man?
I don't even know anymore. But we've talked about this before. I mean, Legend is been on here. He's like, he likes to call them like Transformers Generation 1, Generation 2.
Yeah.
I'm like G2.5, 3. I think I started right around 2014, 15, and just like everybody else, we started, comic calls and showing grails and grading and all that. And then just after a while, when I did a live show, I said, I'm going to talk about news, some comic sales. I had Comic Chron come on there and talk about sales. I had a LCS, my buddy, talk about variant orderings, and then we kind of do the news of the week when it comes to, we kind of found our niche in like geek news related to entertainment of movies and TV. And like, if, we don't really do speculation, but we do, no offense to anybody, we do big boy specs. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So if the first appearance of Shang-Chi is they announce a screenwriter for it, go buy it, because it went from a $500 book to a $1,500 book in a 9.6. Though, I mean, the weekly specs I can't keep up with, but I like to call them long-term specs, right? Anything to do with movies, and we call out like bad spec on like, because now there's so many websites that are just bad clickbait, right? Something, and you go to revengeofthenerds.com and they're just spewing bad information. We try to, hunt down as much news as we can and say, you know what, be careful what they're saying. That's not true. This isn't, we're not trying to give you clickbait, when somebody, because nowadays it's not about the accurate information. It's about who gets the information out there the quickest on Twitter or any of these other things. So we talk about that, the weekly stuff, and it's fun because, I mean, there's a ton of comic book channels out there, and it's like, everybody, all the new cats and the energy. And quite frankly, I can't do new hauls anymore because I don't buy as many comics as I used to, right? Once you start collecting all the big books that you have already, then it starts trickling down to like once a month or once every 2 weeks or something like that. Like, remember our friends Lightning 2288 and Omega Shen Ryukin? Man, they used to do like weekly hauls. And then I talked to them. They go, "Yeah, man, we buy everything.
they buy everything.
We don't have anything to show off anymore." And I'm like, and I guess once you get to a certain point in your collecting career, that's why it's nice to see like young cats who are new to collecting, and they go out and they get the silver and bronze age grails and things like that nature. Like the last cats came through, like Alex a Comic Quarter, Seeking Immigrant Comics, the Doom. Hell, there was like 4 or 5 of them just from Hawaii. That was weird, right? At one point, they were all from Hawaii. And they all invaded.
David's in the chat, I think, watching Seeking Near Mint. He's hanging out with us.
So it's all cyclical, man. The guys that get a lot of views now are fresh to it, and they show off their grails, Hulk 181s, and everybody all the cats who've been on YouTube a while may already have it, but they've shown theirs 4 or 5 years ago. So the cats that are new to YouTube, they gravitate to those, and good for them. That grows the community. Before, we were a small fish in a small pond. Now we're small fish in a medium-sized pond. So it's getting a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and we all started with doing hauls and stuff, and we've all kind of gravitated into our thing. And I mean, like you mentioned Lightning. I remember at one point he was doing like 3 hauls a week.
Those Craigslist hauls, man, he was killing them.
Oh, wow. And Frankensons when he was, and then everybody figured out about Frankensons, and he couldn't get everything he was getting.
I don't go to Frankensons because Anastasia's Collectibles used to have a booth out there. I don't want to get arrested.
So, another thing. Now, do you do auctions on a set schedule, or do you just guys do it whenever the muse strikes you?
Whenever we have a nice, selection of books to give people, because we probably once a month. There's only 3 or 4 of us, so typically, when we do, it's we get a hold of stuff, and typically is. We try to sell slabs because, it's easier. You don't have to worry about the grading or anything like that. You can show it, boom, there it is. And, so typically whenever we get a nice big CGC haul, and we try to get on everybody's schedule. So I think Ryan is waiting for, Darkside Jedi is waiting for like 20 books to come back from CGC. Everything is going to be up for auction. I think Nemesis Prime actually Nemesis Prime last auction, yeah, some huge. They went like 4 hours. I was sick. I had to bow out after like 2 hours, and they were just continuing on. Actually, King of the Golden State was on there too. Shout out to King of the Golden State as well.
Is Ryan still hunting his Batman one?
Oh yeah, he has a sick Golden Age Batman collection. Not better than my buddy the Big To Do, who's no longer on YouTube, but he's the owner of Comic.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, well, that's the I did a rewind show last week when he came on. He talked about the variant ordering system, and he also has booths at WonderCon and San Diego and wherever he goes. But remember, the Big To Do came on the YouTube, and he had this series of videos where I just bought a storage room basically worth of comics. He bought a old LCS that had nothing but Bronze Age, and he had like 50 Miss Marvel #1s from the Bronze Age. He had like a ton of stuff, and he was doing these videos that were just blowing people away just by the sheer quantity of it. But after that, he's got 2 kids now. He runs an LCS, so he doesn't even do videos anymore.
He's staying real busy. Hey, JD, we got some new people in the chat, and I know Liz is going to be enjoying one of the dudes in there.
Right here, we've got Mr. I want to bring out first one, Dragon Dew. Hello, family, yells out there. Hello, you. I just subbed him up. Comic Knight is here. Mr. White Whale himself is in there. Alex, we did a little review of Missing Pieces. Liz enjoyed it very much. So you missed that. Sorry about that. JP's Budget Collecting. How we doing? Good buddy, JP. Does a great job. E-Rod is here. The New York Warriors are here. Hello, Easy E. 3 Men in a Basement, Comics and Collectibles. He is here, and he says, what is up? And we are very proud of him. Brett Hess Art is here, and some great stuff there. And Bill 311. Just trying to hear Comic Core Chad said, where's Carson? That's pretty good.
Oh, God. He said, where's Carson?
We don't have Carson, but we have Paul. So that's good. Very happy to have Paul, and that's a big part tonight.
And it's good to see Chad in the chat,
It is good to see Chad. Best of luck, a lot of prayers going his way.
Yeah.
Here, that's about, I'm pretty much the same people. Joe Ryan, again, is talking away. Count Bond, Strangeman, the other, Robert Galvin. And
big shout out real quick. Also, Big East Comics, home of the New York Warriors. We're going to be having Big East Comics on next week. Of course, he's got one of the best auctions on the YouTube scene, so make sure you tune into that. And, man, check them out when the Warriors go live, too. And another guy we're going to have next week for a special guest is we're going to have JP from the AAC, All About Comics, with Comics and Cole One, man. So definitely see what's up with that. Discovery Bay, my friend, you have been a great lucky winner of a cool, most sought after book of the Bronze Age, Holy Grail. Is there any other, tell us about that experience real quick, but is there any other big boy Grail books that you want to get in the future?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff I'd like to get, but I'll tell you, I'm going to refocus. I got to stay focused on this 1 to 100. If you're watching me at all, I'm trying to finish the old man's runs. Fantastic Four, Avengers, Amazing Spider-Man, just some of that old classic stuff, 1 to 100. And as you can tell by looking around this room, I have not been that focused because I got a lot of stuff that ain't what I should be buying. So hopefully I start to change my mindset and focus a little bit more on that kind of stuff. Get out of some of this new release spec world. I'm buying too much stuff I'm not reading. I got a short box full of stuff I haven't read, man. Am I ever gonna read it? Probably not at this point. So
it's so hard sometimes.
Since he's in
I have a question though. I have a question for TiVo, actually, for both of you, for Legend, for all you guys. Now that you actually whoa, what the hell just happened? Oh, there you go. Okay. You guys talk about the Transformer type, generations or revisions. What are we currently in? What are we? What is this guy sitting in?
There was like G1 to me is, and I came in like I would say G1 2011 is kind of when everyone kind of came together. You started getting a lot of like different little collabs, a lot of readings, a lot of book talks, stuff like
history
that.
Lesson.
G2 about 2012, G3 2013, G4, G5, but also like TiVo said, it was so hard. So it's kind of like you can even take 2 years, like 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2018, because sometimes back then there wasn't a lot of new channels coming in. The new channels are flooding it all, man. The floodgates are open in today's time. And I was going to ask TiVo this, and it kind of goes on to Discovery Bay as question. For me, I would probably say around 2016, the community stopped, like, you know, from my point of view, the community was mainly all about the reading and doing reviews and talking about what books and stuff like that. We didn't really focus too much on the specs or the grails or any of that kind of stuff because, you know, back then we weren't thinking about even being able to get a FF1 or a Wiz #2. You know, I just never thought about ever being able to get those books until, you know, adulting life, you know, and like having a great job.
So
what do you think, TiVo?
Yeah, so the way I break it down is you know, you have the history, so you can mark them as G1, G2. I put it as a timeline like Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
everything. And before, there's events that happened that I remember, like the Battle of Yavin. You know how the Star Wars timeline is before and after the Battle of Yavin. So some events that happened.
Holly Mylar War.
Yes, I would like to say pre and post WLC. Okay, so I think there was and I give a lot of credit to Comic Book Fanatics, right? They brought a lot of people together, right? Mm-hmm. Before that, there was different channels and pockets. Everybody would comment on videos, but I think Marty and Ray brought together like 10 people in a Google Hangout, and they were different channels from different and from that spawned the NY Warriors, right? And some other groups. I mean, there was Punisher Comics. Remember him? Was a Frank on there. There was a lot of good guys. There was Merc with the mouth. Our old friend Frost. I haven't heard
Frosty, baby. He was on there. He was good.
Rest in peace, Frost.
But you know, pretty much the only one that's still active from that whole crew. I mean, well, I guess WLC is active again, but
I wouldn't know. I don't follow him. I don't know what he talks about.
I know he's. I know he's out there.
I mean, there was so much going on at that time, and because of it, groups were combining with each other, and then there was some animosity, some jealousy. Sure. Some things happened, and then it splintered. Marty, you know, was busy with life and moving, and then so the Comic Fanatics kind of went away. And every now and then, he actually came on my show for a while. And we had some wild drunken times, man. I don't remember half of them. But
I was going to say there was a lot of alcohol consumed.
So we used to have Marky on the show. We had a lot of cats on the show, and then after a while, you know, life takes over. I was working a lot, but I remember it's these certain events that happen and it just splinters the community, and then the community reforms itself. It's kind of like Ragnarok, right? It's cyclical. It's gonna eat by itself, and then it spawns new things. And then after a while, I mean, you know, there were certain things that happen. It's like, look, once everybody comes to understanding that, look, it's a pretty big community. Not everybody has to be friends. It's like going to high school. Everybody has their group to hang out with. You see other cats you go to school with, you say, what's up, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean everybody has to hang out with each other. And I think the community is so big now where, you know, I think I did a 100th anniversary episode. I brought a great legend. Shout out to ETA Nick, GPAP. I mean, all the old cats, the new cats. We had a good old time for like my 100th anniversary show. And then, you know, so I used to go follow. I was on ETA Nick's show. Remember ETA Nick used to do that trivia show?
God, that was a good show.
Yeah, man. And I had Hori Hosa Hoggith was on there, and shout out to Hori Hosa Hoggith, man. I haven't seen he's no longer on YouTube either. So you could do a whole show of just talking about cats that are no longer with us, you know, in a memoriam, but they're not really dead. Just as your channels are dead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too soon.
So bottom line is, I don't remember the generations, but I remember the events that shaped those generations. I know that sounds bad, but that's the best way I can remember them. You know what I mean?
And that's kind of how I felt too. Like I looked at when We Love Comics came, and it was a really big channel that came, and it kind of changed the whole comic book community to where, you know, he had such a reach that he would reach a lot of the new folks and give them his information and stuff like that. And and then after that, it just seemed more like everything was monetary, or, you know, who had the best books. So then you had, like you said, some of the jealousy, animosity came into play. And then for me personally, you know, and I would say up until about 2016, I'd kind of forgotten what I was doing in the comic book community. I was kind of like, you know, what's going on here? What am I really trying to do? And then that kind of went on for a while, where you think you're in limbo. Is my channel doing good? Is it not doing good? What do I do? And then finally, I just came to the realization that it doesn't matter what I have on my channel. The most important thing I have on my channel is myself. So then, as long as it is focused on myself and whatever made me happy, that was the kind of work and the effort I was putting into my YouTube video. So I hope everyone in the chat, realizes that, and don't worry about numbers sometimes. All of that stuff will come down the line, but make sure yourself is having a good time.
Yeah, if you want to make money doing YouTube videos, you are in the wrong community. All right,
Exactly.
Learn how to put on makeup and do makeup tutorials. You'll get 200,000 views.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, we watched one on how to put on Gamora's makeup last year for her to do Gamora. This girl had 7,000 views. I only saw 2 other Gamoras in every con I went to. That didn't make no sense to me. There's some people walking around their house just dressed like Gamora, just great makeup, silver shit.
One of them was probably my 7-year-old daughter. She watches makeup videos all day.
That's pretty fun stuff.
There's a weird community of people that unbox things with just their hands, and they get tons of views too. I don't know. I think they're hand models, and all they do is unboxings, and then they get sponsorship
kids'
to
toys.
unbox shit. It's crazy.
Unboxing kids' toys, you can make a mint.
Yes, it's crazy.
Now, I was asking Kat Wren earlier, Kat Wren, when are you going to start whispering into the microphone, making some of them ASMR videos?
Oh, that is a dark corner of YouTube. I swear to God.
That's some creepiness right there. There's a whole different level when you get into ASMR. Weird.
Hey, can you also show me your shirt real quick, Kat?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
You want this shirt?
It's
And since we were talking about people who are gone too soon and aren't on their shows anymore, we know he's in the chat. I'm going to send a link to Chad just in case.
Just in case he wants to show up. I'll tell a quick Chad story real quick that, when I met Chad and Rich, it was when they were watching, kind of almost said Beyond the Blast Doors. That's a kick-ass show, too.
No, blast it.
But it was Blasted or Stash It. I knew. Paul read my mind. It had some blast in there. And getting to know Chad and Rich, that was really awesome. And then, we developed in, and, Comic Core came from the old reviews from the Batcave hanging with Blasted. So a lot of freaking fun. So Chad's always been a real great guy, and we're sorry to see him go and he's gone too soon. But just know, Chad, we're always thinking about you, man. We love you and stuff.
So one thing I wanted to just point out to everybody about the YouTube that TiVo and everybody up, GPAP, the Godfather.
Oh, he's here. Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys. He's the king of on-air and off-air content right there. He's one of the best guys hanging out there. And I want to chat up a few people in the chat while I recognize a few names that just came. How are you? It's a long time right there. We also had, I want to shout out Comic Books NYC, one of my favorites right there. Very good. Epicurean Eye Relief.
Great guy. He's pretty new, and he's got some good content.
Yep. And that's one of the things I talk about, some of the new young guys that are putting out content. That's been really good. This has been, I'm a 2018er. I'm new. I watched you guys for about a year before I did any of this stuff. And I never had one of those where I stopped collecting comics. It just wasn't something I ever YouTubed anything. And I was watching Legend and Lords of the Longbox unboxing, and I'm like, I want to do that. Legend was doing his Truth and everything else, and I watched everything else. But I wanted to just kind of shout out to the new guys and everything.
Yeah, and for the people who want to get on YouTube or already on YouTube.
What is that?
That's a hell of an intro.
What is that? Holy hell.
As I was saying, for those who want to make YouTube videos or thinking about it or they're new to it, you know what? You don't gotta show grails every week. Whatever you show, as long as you're enthusiastic about it, I will watch.
Bingo.
Don't be that dude that goes, I just got a grail. I'm so excited. Look at this. Get the fuck out of here, man.
That's why I think I found my niche.
You gotta get hyped up like this guy with the white shirt. Newsstand.
Is there a guy? Newsstand shirt. Carson's here.
Hi.
What's up?
What is this music in the background?
I don't know.
Oh, there it is. Hey, Woodard, go ahead, Woodard. Take over.
Well, what's going on, guys? First off, I worked 6 days in a row this week. I apologize for being late. I am so happy it's finally Comic Core Friday.
Well, what's going on, guys? Have we been over the chat yet? Did we do that?
Hey, you know what?
All right. So we
Not
got
the way
Brett
you
Lewis,
do it.
Chat, Fake the Snake, and Brett Hestart. We got Comics with Bueller, says Chad. Good to see you, buddy. What's going on, Bueller? 3 Men in a Basement, Comics and Collectibles. What's going on, man? But
Chad is here.
And let me give some respect to where respect is due. Oh my God, TiVo, I haven't seen you on a show with me, and I've been watching this show since the Big Dick showed up on my reviews from the back.
I was talking about that earlier. I was like, the last time I was with the Cores when I was on Batcave Comics, when the first iteration of the channel.
Yeah, and you reached out to me instantly. And this dude, I will tell you, like, there's 3 people on this panel right now that got me into YouTube. And it was Legend, it was TiVo, and it was Paul from Midwest Comic Book, man. These guys are these are the people that you should be showing respect to. These are the guys that know their shit. You know what? TiVo didn't know me from a hole in the wall. And he reached out to me and had a conversation, and I thank you, man. I just to see you wearing the cloak. I mean, God damn,
thank you.
bro.
Another person for calling it a cloak and not a cape. Points.
That's it. The cloak, the coat, the cape, you babe.
Hey, listen, I got a big bump drop.
What's going on, Chad? What's happening, man?
I'm gonna steal the mic for a minute, and I've been conflicted, and I even went out and got Conor McGregor's whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel that it's necessary that I say this straight to everybody. And I started to. I'm not the greatest speller. I'm not the greatest typist, but I can talk. I got the gift for gab and the gift for jab. So let's start this off right. First off, if you guys don't know me, I'm the advocate for the Comic Core. I'm Comic Core Chad. For those that know me, bow down because it's your Ayatollah, a rock and roller, baby. And we're gonna drop it like this. I got a phone call. I had 2 very, very serious events that happened in my life on Monday. I'm not going to go into it. I don't need you. I don't want sympathy. I don't need that bullshit. But I took some time off the Comic Core, and I was planning on continuing that, and I decided not to about 15 minutes ago. The reason why is I've been reached out to. You know what, Travis? I'm going to break the 4th wall. Bueller, you told me not to hide anybody's names anymore. If we're going to talk about something, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it directly. I was reached out by Travis. All you guys know him as Bueller's Comics with Bueller. And I consider Bueller a friend, and he reached out to me to talk to me about a situation that happened on one of the Comic Core shows. And, you know, Billy, if you guys don't know who Billy is, he's economics and comics, felt that he was being attacked by the Comic Core Unlimited show the other night about speculations and Patreon and all this other bullshit. Well, at the end of the day, he wasn't being picked on. He creates his own problems. And I'm going to look you right in the face, Billy, and I'll tell you this. I don't hate you. Shit, I don't even dislike you. I don't even know who the fuck you are. I don't sub you up. But for you to trash these cats when you said you're not going to, that's fucked up. And the shit that you sent me on your Instagram and on your Facebook, I saved. I'm not putting it out there for anybody, but don't be a coward and hide behind a keyboard. Come on and talk. I threw it out there twice. I didn't like what you did one time. I confronted you on it. I didn't like what you did the second time because I wasn't involved. You fuck with my family, that's where I get hurt. And I said at the beginning of this, TiVo, Legend, these guys are my godfathers. These are the guys I grew up watching. These are the guys that I admire. Nobody here in the Comic Core was ever supposed to be the police. And we're not going to be the police. We're here for one fucking thing, and that's positivity. I told TiVo this, and he says it all the time, and Legend says it all the time. I'm on a quest for positivity. And at the end of the day, if you're not here for this community, see ya. TiVo said it a minute ago. This is a small community. It's a medium size now. We're growing, right? But put your big boy pants on. That goes for anybody. A large channel, a small channel, we're all family. And that means one thing. Share the subs, share the likes, smash everybody as much as you can, and share the growth. Every single person in this community should have 5,000 subs because there's 5,000 of us. And until that day happens, shit. The reason the Comic Core came about is because of an unfortunate event. That unfortunate event led into something amazing. You got Cat Ren, who's got Cat Ren figures. She's my ABC. You got C. Wood, who is the CW. You got Paul. Oh my God, Paul, you suck.
Oh, I love Paul.
Paul, you're my USA. And Legend, you're my NBC. At the end of the day, Comic Core is supposed to be the Netflix and chill and the HBO. So it's supposed to be the Comic Core community channel.
I like
Billy,
that,
if you want to come on and make a show on the Comic Core, by all means. If you want to have a conversation, by all means. But don't drag anybody's name through the mud. And don't say lies. Nobody texted you from the Comic Core. Nobody did anything to you. Drop it.
That's right.
I don't need any phone calls at 3 a.m. when my dad's in the hospital.
There's room for everybody.
So just drop it. This is a big enough sandbox to play in. Fuck it. 2 tears in a bucket. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about some comic books.
Let's see about this guy. What do you got, Woodard?
I like comic books.
Hey, Woodard, I've been waiting to tell you something.
No. Woodard, you like signatures and sketches.
I do. I like those too. I probably have a book right next to me that has evidence of that. So, by the way, haven't hugged it today. There you go.
Hey, Woodard, guess what I got today?
What'd you get?
Marvel Unlimited.
Oh,
Damn, man. I got the DC Universe and the Marvel Comics, man, all digital.
That's cool, man. So,
you know what, Woodard? I want to say something real quick about the whole situation. Okay, I want to get all the drama out in the air and let people know, because I didn't get to share earlier. And last night I did this video for my main man, Comic Spectre, his road to 500 subscribers, and I also unboxed an AOK that he sent me the week before because I was feeling a little down.
Legend, real quick. Bueller asked me to reach out to Billy. I did that. Billy ignored me. That's where we're at right now. I thought this needed to be, because I've heard several different messages have been shown to me about people talking shit about the Comic Core. That's not what this is about. Guys, it's about community, and continue with the community. There's 2 types of people. There's takers, there's givers. We're going to give as much as we can. We're doing 25% of an auction to somebody.
I have a video for that one whenever we're ready on that.
All right. Thanks. We're also going to be doing the Comic Core. We're going to be giving away and flying YouTubers that can't afford to go to cons to cons. We're going to pay for your way there, your way home, your stay, and your admission.
I would like to go to London Comic Con. Just throwing that out there. So
what's that?
I want to go to London Comic Con. If you guys can,
somehow I know JD can do that. He'll find a way.
I'll figure something out.
But these guys, we just got to be a family. And I'm sorry, there's only been one hiccup in this entire thing, and I'm trying to squash it. But I'm still getting text messages and phone calls at 3 a.m. And I thought I had to address it today, because people only tell half the truth. And when you learn to tell the truth, it's going to set you free, my friend.
It'll set you free, man. It's just like freaking Shawshank Redemption. Good old Red. Red always used to say, you better get busy living or you get busy dying. And some people need to start trying to be better. But let me show you, man. Comic Spectre hooked me up. This was the book I read. It was Journey into Mystery number 111, where Thor is trying to rescue the love of his life, the mortal Jane Foster. But he's running up against a battle, a two-man dance with Mr. Hyde and Cobra. Mr. Hyde's got this crazy house of horrors, traps all over the place. Cobra also is there helping him out. Both of those guys have some of that, some of that Brock Lesnar UFC juice, and man, they are on the loose. They're putting the hurt on Thor, and he doesn't know why they're so strong, because they're going all day long, knocking people down and all this. Finally, Thor is able to, get the guys off of him for enough to go put Jane in a safe place. He is able to stop time, but he's running out of time, and Jane's about to die. So on the flip side, we got Balder doing some work for Odin upstairs in Asgard, and Balder throws down his sword, and with that sword, Thor is able to save the day. And then the second story was really good too. I can't remember the guy's name, but every time he hit the ground, he gained strength. So Thor threw his ass out in space. And man, Thor saved the day and saved the Asgardian race. Damn, that's how you do it. But anyway, so this was a great book. And again, make sure you see Comic Spectre, Road to 500. Let's get him over 500 tonight, fans, and get on this awesome contest.
And it's a great contest. All you have to do, you talk about your first, like I talked about 2 books, or 4 books, but I've talked about the first book I ever got as a gift and the first one I ever bought. And I kind of it took me a couple of tries to make the video because I choked up remembering the moment when I got that first book and when I went to the store and bought that book. And I actually called my cousin. I said, "What book did you buy?" He's like, "I don't remember." He goes, "How come I do?" He goes, "Because you bought Beta Ray Bill." Because he remembered my cousin remembered exactly what book I bought. Because he goes, I walked away with probably he was laughing. It was 1983. He was joking like that. And he actually was a big fan of the master of the Shang-Chi himself, big old master of the Kung Fu, Shang-Chi and everything else. So he has the whole run. So that was one of the things I was going to say. He got me into that book, that, quote unquote speculation on Marvel Super, whatever it is, 15. I don't know. It's a birthday book.
Marvel Special Edition 15.
Special Edition 15. There you go. Well, I want to thank Chad for being Chad and doing the right thing. Expressing everybody that the core is about giving and not taking. And as a group, I think we all agree to that. We all have made an agreement that this is about a giving and not a taking. And we're proud of everybody who's doing their thing. I want to know now from C. Woodard, my man, what are you reading this week?
Well, like I said, I work 6 days this week, so I'm just now getting the comics I bought out of the bag. But I think I got some good ones.
Great. I'm not the only this week going, I ain't read shit.
I've read a few this is really for me though. So I got Witches issue 1, phenomenal Scott Snyder and Jock collaboration. Got it for $2.50. So I thought that was a decent buy. I love this book. Here's a book. I mean, I thought it was worth more at one point, but I don't care. I've been looking for this one for a long time, so I'm glad the price has finally dropped on it. Got Astonishing X-Men #1, the Delato variant. So this was the only one I was missing of those covers because this is one of my top favorite X-Men runs. It's probably this and the Morrison New X-Men run for me.
Can you show the backing board on that X-Men? Is that the old school brown cardboard?
Yeah, this is what half price books.
Shit.
But I haven't had a chance to rebag these bad boys yet. But it's like they cut their own backing boards or something.
Those were like in the '90s. People were, those were the cheap ones.
That must have been like at my half price books. All the ones that are bagged and boarded are like in a box underneath. All the ones up top are just open.
Yeah, there's some garbage bags. So like the Spider-Man I got for $2.50, same thing. It's getting rebagged. So I got some.
That's like having unprotected sex, man. You got to wear that Mylarpy.
It still beats when they put the sticker on the book. That's what gets me the most angry.
Oh, it's like pass.
Got some dreads, some jock dreads. So
let me see that.
That's hot, dude. I've never seen that one before.
Yeah. So $2 a pop for a couple of these jock covers on these dreads. So I thought these were
Kyle
really
Walker
cool.
would love that book.
I know. And then I got a second printing of Dread Underbelly, another cool jock cover. So these things, when these came out, these instantly sold out at my local shop. So I never thought I'd see them. So hey, get them for $2. I'm definitely not going to complain. Got some She-Hulk issue 50, that nice shiny green goodness there. Love that.
A wicked cover.
Actually, it was a good jock day because I also got the Grayson #1 jock variant.
Nice.
So that was $150, and then I got like a whole run of Michael Turner's Fathom for like a couple bucks a piece. So
Nice.
Actually, I'm planning on reading this. I've been wanting to get this run for a while, so got some
I've
awesome
got
Mike
about
Turner
half
goodness.
of that run, so I need to get more.
Oh, and then I found another bronzy She-Hulk for $3. So that was my haul for the week.
Thank you very much.
Man.
Good stuff.
Are we doing hauls?
Yeah.
Well, don't get JB going on a haul. He gets like
No,
83 boxes a day.
No, hold on. I think I actually
Ignore
sat
them.
on.
Show your
I sat on something that I didn't think was actually important, and then someone brought it to my attention. Like, dude, you're a knucklehead. You've been sitting on these for a week. So a week ago, I was at my LCS, and every time I go in there, he lets me grab some of the free Comic Day books. So he handed me the free Comic Day books that are coming out. So I actually have them all. So, like if anybody wants to see inside.
Ooh, I want that.
Yeah, Goon is awesome stuff.
Love Goon.
Or to find out what's going to happen in this Spider-Man that is coming out May.
Dude, you're going to get
May
our
the
channel
4th.
shut down.
I got
showing all this
You
stuff.
got to preview the 300.
And this is the Spawn. I think they redid the one
Cover for
Oh, yeah,
number
looks
one.
Yeah,
like
I think it's a reprint of one.
Nice.
So
Oh, there's Riverdale. I love CW.
Are we not allowed to look through these?
I probably wouldn't.
You can look through them. I would not post them on the hold them up to the camera.
Okay, so I guess we're not showing the haul.
Too risky, JB. Too risky.
You can show the covers, I think.
Hey,
like,
I
the
got
covers have been
one,
shown.
one
I think you're okay if they're reprints.
I
If they're
think
new
that's an
content, you
Ahoy
may not
comic.
want to
Yeah.
show new issues.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But if they're
No,
reprints, I
these
think
are-
you're good.
I don't know which ones are reprints.
Again, it's not my
Matter.
channel. What do I care?
The covers are
Who
fine
cares?
because they've all been shown in previews and stuff.
I'm gonna
but-
get hit with a copyright for playing that Shield shit.
Oh,
Yeah, you are.
So,
Which, by the way,
I picked this book up from Ahoy Comics today, and if you guys get it, it's Planet of the Nerd. It's about 3 80s jocks that are frozen in time,
Oh, I love
and they're
time.
thawed out in present day. And
Yeah, that's got to be hysterical.
they can't
that's
understand
gnarly,
why
dude.
they can't understand why the nerds have taken over the world.
Okay, JB with one line there just showed everybody knows he's from California now.
Yeah, there you go. That's
I just picture
totally
like all the bad people from Toxic Avenger. Like those are the characters.
Trauma.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
old
a
trauma.
feeling today.
It's the alpha betas from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yep.
Exactly what it is. So
Hey, I have a spec book.
Oh, is this a big boy spec book?
Gotta be big.
This is something I got on my LCS, man. This is you know how everybody's picking up Taskmaster?
Yeah.
You know how Marvel movies typically base the characters off the Ultimate line?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I picked this up. It's Ultimate Spider-Man number 26, first appearance of Ultimate Taskmaster.
nice.
Nice.
So if you want to know, it's Ultimate Spider-Man number 26. That's the first, and then I got this for cheap too. First appearance of Talos, which is he's still around, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the scroll.
What's
And I
that?
think this is great. First appearance of who'll end up being Quasar in a 9-2. I think with Marvel going the cosmic route, I think any little obscure cosmic character you should snatch up.
Which number is that? I think I
What was
have
his
it.
name?
Captain
before he
America
was Quasar?
217. This is the first appearance of Quasar.
Yeah.
And well, it ends up actually Marvel Man, but it's Wendell Vaughn
Marvel
later
Man.
becomes
And then that Hulk, was that 419 or?
Which one? Yeah, Hulk is Incredible Hulk 419, first appearance of Talos.
419. Yeah,
I think he'll pop up again, man, because his character.
He shows up in 418 and the wedding of Rick Jones to the porn star. In Hulk 418, he shows up in there, and I read that because it's this freaking hysterical book. And then you turn over, and there's DC people in there, and then you find out 419 that he's a Skrull, Talos. No joke.
Yeah, and I thought he was great in the Captain spoiler. You haven't seen it yet. We're probably not going to see it, but I thought what they did with the scrolls was pretty cool. But I think he could still come back in a future movie because they kind of set them like, hey, we all thought it was going to be the typical Marvel villain, one and done, but no, I think he's got a good. Well, now that he may not even be a villain, he's got a good chance of coming back.
There might be a Meet the Scrolls something on Netflix one.
That'd be fun.
That'd be
Are Loki and Ronan the only villains that have been in more than one movie?
Well, now Thanos.
Red Skull.
Yeah, Thanos.
Kind of Red Skull.
Yeah, well, a different guy, but Red Skull.
Crossbones, he was in 2.
Yeah,
for about 2 minutes in each one, right?
Blew up.
He basically caused the Civil War, so
semantics, Paul. You just asked, did they show up in more?
Yeah. No. I mean, that's the only two I could think of immediately off the top of my head.
Does the Collector count? He's kind
I
of.
mean, it's not as bad as DC. DC just nukes everybody every movie.
It's always be careful specking on villains, man. First appearance of heroes are good, but
I never
except for
villains.
Thanos.
Yeah,
Villains too risky.
Yeah, now would be a good time to get the first Steppenwolf, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you want,
took
go ahead
1
and go
month.
out. Go get Hydro Man and Molten Man if you still want.
Ultron, from what everybody's telling me, Ultron.
I got a story about TiVo that I've never shared with anybody.
Oh, hell.
TiVo, you better start sucking on that vape, man.
Like, so I was watching. Remember, Marvel used to do a YouTube channel. It was the Beyonder, and it was hosted by that horrible. What was her name? Grace Randolph.
Oh God, I can't stand it.
So I'm watching Marvel, and then all of a sudden it literally loops to TiVo. And he is saying literally the exact opposite of everything she just said. He was 100% correct. She was straight up specking on her entire video.
Oh yeah, we try to debunk her as much as possible. She gives the worst information ever. And if you ever watch her videos, dude, she does bukkake graphics, man. She'll talk about one thing and she'll have 25 little graphics pop up on the screen too. You can barely see her face, dude. It's like somebody just learning how to do graphics and they just go overboard with it.
I mean, she was, I mean, honestly, there's a couple cats on here that's got the voice and they got the everything, and you're one of them. Joe Ryan, Chuck Legend, you guys, I say you guys are like the cream of the crop.
Boring.
TiVo's last auction he had with Kirby, Golden State, King of the Golden State, and who else was it? It was your boy Ryan, wasn't it?
Ryan and Nemesis Prime, Justin. Yeah,
dude. Let me just say, when I was watching it, all I was watching it for, because I wasn't going to spend any money that night. I was just watching it for Ryan and TiVo on the commentary because they were so laid back. They were just giving damn good commentary. Like, I mean, like. That really
is
helps.
Another word for it, yeah.
That really helps sell books too, because if, like Chad says, if you got that gift for gab, you got a good voice, man, you can really make some books move just because you're like pleasant to listen to and have a lot of fun.
During an auction we could somehow play background music because man, you go for a few hours and it's just tedious, especially if you watch an auction when nobody's talking. That's why auctioneers get, they do that, that fast rhyming. Shout out to that fucking auction page that remixes it to hip-hop music. Have you seen that? But anyway, they got a cease and desist from the Texas auction house they were doing it from, man. Their Instagram got shut down.
Damn.
But if you haven't seen it, try to find the old ones. Some of the best shit ever. They take this auctioneer dude and they remix it with hip hop beats, and it's better than all the mumble rap you hear nowadays.
I was on the off air with you, and you just started rhyming one time, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Legend Part 2."
Actually, if you go to my SoundCloud,
he's part 1.
How many copyright strikes have you gotten from your mixes, TiVo?
Every one I did. Yeah, pretty much. Every one I get a copyright ding. But you know what? It was something I enjoyed doing. I love music, and who hit me the hardest was Star Wars. So I did.
I remember that one.
I did a Imperial March remix. John Williams is not fucking around. They didn't mute my shit.
Hot mix.
They took it down. That was like, damn, I couldn't find it. So then I realized you have to do like a 15-second snippet before. The algorithm kicks in, right? And then they find it.
And see, that one was probably a true copyright strike. I've noticed most of them, it's like this is not a copyright strike, but someone else is monetizing it now. But if they took it down, that means you got a strike.
We could have a whole episode on fair usage and those crazy things. I mean, like if I play a record, there's a lot of us on here collect vinyl, right? If I go on to Instagram and I said, I just bought this record and I play 60 seconds of it, Instagram will warn me to say, hey, this copyright thing, do you own this? I go, you damn right, it's about the fucking record. You're looking at it, right? But on YouTube, if I play a record, I cannot dispute it. They will not let you, even if you own that you own that record you bought, you cannot play it. Even if you don't monetize it, even if you don't monetize it, they still will ding you for it. It's kind of, I don't understand these reaction channels, how they do what they do, right? You know, the guys that they do reaction videos off of like songs or rap videos. Like, you know, I got hooked on this thing of metal dudes reacting to hip hop videos and vice versa.
Yep.
Rap dudes.
Yeah, those things are fucking hysterical.
Yeah, but I don't understand how they do it. And then one guy I looked into it and they say if you pay like 20-second snippets, the algorithm won't kick in. That's why they keep on interrupting it. It's kind of
another thing that I've heard from a lot of them is if, like, you know how a lot of the bands now have Vivo after their name for their videos. Yeah, the Vivo channel. They said if you do a Vivo video, you're gonna get hit. They said people I've seen they'll take a live version of one of them doing that song, so it's not a Vivo one.
Yep.
Because that'll avoid the strike.
Shout out to my man Carl on bass, who is on part of the comic community, but he's also a freaking fantastic musician. I don't know if you guys follow him, but he'll sing.
Too. Does he play bass?
He plays bass, but he also has a great voice, man. He has a great voice. He does covers of like Bruno Mars, but kind of a bluesy kind of thing. Really dope.
Oh, man.
Oh, we got going on blues the other day, man.
Yeah,
Robert Johnson, The Crossroads.
Yeah, we talked about Crossroads, Lead Belly. We talked about T-Bone Walker, Blind Lemon Jefferson, both 1 and 2. We were talking about Albert King. We were just nonstop talking about the blues right there. But good stuff. So
I've got a topic.
Good.
This is a rumor I've heard. I mean, it's pretty clear that Netflix had a deal with Marvel that they've got like a 2-year exclusive. They cannot do those shows for 2 years. Daredevil, Iron Fist. Yeah. The rumor that I hear going around now is that Marvel's going to get around this by doing Heroes for Hire and having the other characters show up.
Do you not watch Lord of the Longbox?
Did he talk about it?
Yes.
TiVo said that just the other day. TiVo, you said that if they do,
this was not the week. This was not the week for me to watch shows, but that's my segue to TiVo.
I think a way they can skirt around it is making animated versions of it. They can't do live action versions of it, but you already know they got a What If animated series. But I think the further they distance themselves from the Netflix shows, they can recast without causing a fan uproar. Fuck Finn Jones, but if you like, obviously Daredevil, Charlie Cox, maybe Luke Cage, Jessica Jones was not everybody's cup of tea, but people think she's a perfect actress to play Jessica Jones. But I think the further they distance themselves from it, and Kevin Feige has control of the streaming service. That's the MCU. It's not Jeff Loeb and Netflix, Marvel TV. So this is the big boys playing with these properties now. So I'm pretty sure Feige was like, I want to recast my own people for these shows, right? So maybe Charlie Cox comes over because he was a great Matthew Murdock as well as Daredevil. But I think we all agree we can do without Finn Jones. Hashtag curly Finn Jones is curly hair fuck Friday, by the way.
Is that your Danny Rand right there?
I mean, I love Iron Fist, and I was just
it was awful. The one thing you had to do was just fucking fight. I didn't care about the story, and it was so whack. It was so whack. When you see Into the Badlands, you're like, dude, it should be like Into the Badlands.
Exactly. There's not most of Iron Fist comics that I got into after the Marvel premieres and everything else. There's not a lot of backstory, which was good. It was pretty much kick-ass the whole time. The entire first season on YouTube, but I'll just do my first season review right now. What the hell were you doing? I don't need to watch your bullshit. I don't need to watch freaking. It literally felt like the Stepford Wives with the guy sitting there wanting to learn kung fu. It was terrible. It was no offense to anybody who watches this stuff, but it was one of the Devils Wear Prada the whole time. It was terrible.
So here's the story about Finn Jones leading up to
that movie.
Season 1 of Iron Fist. Leading up to it, Finn Jones only trained for 3 months. the fight choreographer was on in the interview, and he was like, and you could see him say like, well, we try to get him as much as we can, but he was just too busy dying on Game of Thrones. So, he didn't put in the work. And, if fans of Hong Kong cinema, all these guys that fight, a lot of them don't have martial arts background, but they're badass because they trained the choreography. And, it's just like fighting, right? I mean, they trained the choreography. You could take a good actor without any martial arts background as long as they put it. Look at fucking Keanu Reeves, right? Keanu Reeves isn't a black belt or anything, but what he does in his fight choreography looks realistic because he put in the work. And I don't think Finn Jones ever put in the work. He didn't put in the muscle. He didn't do any of it. So,
you make a great point with Keanu Reeves. I mean, he is a badass. He trained with the Navy SEALs to learn how to use the guns and fight for John Wick. Back to the Netflix quick
He should have worked on his guitar in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I have something to say about Keanu after Chad makes his point.
But Jeb Loeb, he says in his parting ways with Netflix, as Matthew Murdoch's dad once said, the measure of a man is not how he gets knocked to the mat, it's how he gets back up. And then ... to be continued. I mean, they're not done with these properties. And
well, if you notice, he said Matt, though. He didn't say Charlie Cox per se, right? I mean, the character will definitely be back, but it's so open-ended how he said it. Could be back in comics, it could be back in animated form. I mean, the iteration of it right now is a bit dark. And we talked on our show that, man, these are great properties to launch on FX because FX got some violent, crazy shit going on the and Disney owns FX now. So it's too violent for Disney streaming. Hulu doesn't have enough subscribers. But FX, you get that commercial money, you get that almost, it's almost like a regular channel, not quite prime time, but it's pretty big basic cable channel. They got, Sons of Anarchy, some other great shows in there. Imagine putting the Netflix shows on FX. I think that would be
well. See, I think this is the hidden advantage to the whole Fox deal is everybody was like, well, they're never going to do R-rated Marvel movies. They're never going to. Now that they've got the Fox properties like FX and stuff, it gives them that separation that they can put those things out there and have them be more violent, be more sexy, be whatever,
They specifically brought up on the Disney shareholder thing about this, and it was a lot of it had to do with Star Wars and the Disney streaming, but somebody brought up the violent content and the stuff that was on Netflix, i.e. they brought up the corridor fights of Matt Murdock and the corridor fight of the Punch.
That shit was brilliant.
That was well done and everything was good, but they brought that up saying you probably couldn't show this on the streaming, but we do have plans to make a more over 50, a not necessarily a rated R, but a more adult version of the streaming service using our other properties. And TiVo, you hit the nail on the head. They were talking about FX because somebody brought out there, what about now that you have FX? What about, you've got this opportunity that they had with, I forget the name of the mutant show that was on FX that they were doing.
Legion?
Legion. And they're saying, well, we didn't really have a lot to do with that, but New Mutants is something that we now have access to. And it is something we could probably take to a more adult level oriented.
Yeah. I think that would be a big failure to put New Mutants on anything besides the big screen because the production money they put into it, they have to recoup it. So even if it just breaks even, I think they would be happy with that. You can't spend, I don't care if it's a $50-60 million movie. I don't think you could put that anywhere but on the big screen to recoup your money, right? I mean, from what they're saying, people on it or stuff like that. What's interesting to me is The Gifted is getting canceled on Fox, and I think that's directly because Fox no longer owns the TV rights to the X-Men. So they're like, why are we going to make a show to promote something we can never really get on the big screen? So it's leaving Fox. I think The Gifted will be back either on the streaming service or ABC or or FX, one of the other channels. I actually enjoyed The Gifted. I thought it was pretty cool, man.
If you guys want to read an interesting, it's interesting, but it's wordy, and it's the legalities of the parks themselves and how the properties can't transcend because, if you go, let's face it, if you go to Universal, you have a whole Spider-Man, you got basically Marvel World, right?
Yeah.
At this point, Disney has people walking around. If the characters aren't represented in a certain way, they automatically lose them. And now you're sitting there, Fox's biggest property, longest running show, probably one of their most successful sitcoms of all time is The Simpsons. And guess what?
It's 33 this year.
Mhm.
Disney owns it now. I mean,
He owns them.
and Disney already announced The Simpsons are going to be on the streaming service.
Yep.
I mean, that is a kick in the ball.
You know, it's interesting how we all were like obsessed with the MCU getting the FF and the X-Men back. But that purchase wasn't even about that, man. That was to get that giant entire library of content. So when they put out their streaming service, and when they put it out and they put the price point of $6.99, dude, it's $1 less than DC Universe. The day they announced that, Netflix stock dropped. That's how powerful Disney came down and threw their thing down. They was like, all right, okay, that's nice. Here,
So
come up to the stall and look what I'm packing. This is what we got.
Warner Brothers announced all inclusive that covers all their properties that would include DCU, and it was going to be $12.99. I mean, half of what Disney's going to produce.
Right.
I mean, Disney is. I mean, the mouse makes money. Let's face it.
Right.
They're going to continue to make money.
At the same time, anybody who says Netflix didn't see this coming is an idiot because they've been snapping up independent comic creators all over the place. They got Millard, they've got J. Michael Straczynski, they've got
Brian K. Vaughan. They got Brian Vaughan. You know, they've one of the things that you got to on Tuesday, Netflix in the pre-market dropped about 11.4%, which was a lot for
that's big.
And what people were talking about was it came up before the market opened, was just about Disney announcing their service on Monday or last week, but Monday was when it really hit with the price, the time, the shareholder meeting changed everything because Tebow, you're 100% right. They weren't they didn't mention FF1. Fans did, and we're chiming in. What about Fantastic Four? What about Galactus? What about Silver Surfer? What about X-Men? But they kept saying we have an entire catalog to go through and to decide what we're going to do. It's not just going to be the Disney movies, the Pixar movies, the Marvel movies, the Star Wars movies. It will include anything that we purchased, including all 20th Century Fox films. And they went through everything from the old days, like old 20th century stuff, you know, old stuff. They even had like
They arguably have the largest grossing non-comic book movie ever. They now own the Avatar franchise, and they can start making Avatar films.
And they've got the two films coming out with it still.
Yeah.
But but here's the thing: the mouse doesn't have tiny balls. They're swinging large.
I think
at the end of the day, he's like, you know what? Our biggest and our most profitable property, we're going to put on the shelf for the next 6 years after the movie comes out.
Well,
yeah, so big. Bob Iger stepping down in 2022. He's like, I'm done. That's it. That's going to be on my head. That's going to be on my headstone when I pass away. That I did this. It's time for me to step away. I'm no longer CEO.
Like Feige said, he said we've got 5 years of Marvel movies already planned, so we can't touch FF yet. We can't touch X-Men yet. But I think. One, yeah, they're excited about getting those properties back, but I think more than anything, the best benefit is they stopped the fucking bleeding from those awful fucking movies that have been coming out.
I think Kevin Feige and all those guys, when they're finally retiring, what was that other guy's name? Bob Iger, is that it?
Yeah,
Devo?
Bob Iger is CEO of Disney. Yeah,
in 2022, when he steps down, you're gonna hear it here. Here's the spec for it. They're finally, when he steps down in 2022, they're finally gonna unfreeze Walt Disney from cryo.
Bro, and
he's coming back, baby.
Dude, Star Wars Land isn't even open yet, dude. That is gonna be crazy.
October, right?
Oh, I'm gonna wait.
You have a hotel where you open up the window in your outer space.
India.
Is there anybody on the panel who would argue with the fact that Kevin Feige is the man that is most responsible for the success of the Marvel movies?
No,
he had the plan.
I would say Stan Lee because he wrote them all.
Yeah, but Feige's the one that when they come to him in Ant-Man and say, "Hey, we want to do this with this character," he says, "No, you can't do that because we're doing this 4 movies from now."
It's like having Stan Lee as the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, right? So, you know, let's talk comic books to the films. Kevin Feige is the closest you had to a publisher, right? Where all these storylines, we need to make sure that they tie. And then when DC did it, you kind of realize, hey, man, this is not as easy as it seems. I mean, we can debate Star Wars if people are saying those are tied in, but imagine dude, we're going on 10 years, and that's why I'm so stoked for. I can't believe we're like hour and a half into this. We haven't talked about Endgame yet. It comes out next week, but dude, it's gonna be such a massive undertaking because we're not gonna get another giant event like this in the movies for at least for Marvel for quite a while. I doubt DC is gonna do anything, but man, this is the culmination of.
Well, next week we could see the fucking collapse of the U.S. economy because it's all going to go into the fucking cinema.
Or
Fantasy football times 100, man. No work's gonna get done at all.
What happened at the end of Endgame is the teaser for what's the next 4 years down the road. I mean, it took a while from Iron Man 1 to get to Avengers 1, right?
I think it'll be after Homecoming, Far From Home.
Here's
after
what
Spider-Man. After Spider-Man Far From Home, that's when we're gonna get the real news. And San Diego Comic-Con this year is gonna be lit because I think they're gonna really announce some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
You
I
just said
absolutely
it's going to be lit. You need to go back to the 90s, Tim.
It's awesome.
What, we
So
can't
here's
stay
the
lit
deal,
anymore?
guys. Listen to this. I went to UPMC to visit my pops, and because of that, I have a new item that is going up on the Comic Core page. It's going to be on Instagram. Kat's going to put it up. I bought a whole. Well, I didn't buy it. I stole a whole lot of like urinals.
Did you say urinals?
Yeah.
That's what I think he said.
Where are you going with this?
Are we peeing in our pants? Is it pee in the
because
Oh,
nobody.
because Endgame is 3 hours long.
There you go.
There you go, man.
Throw the
Everybody else wants
sticker
to
on
pee
it
in a
and
bucket.
call
This
it
dude's
a
got a
day.
urinal, man. Come on.
Well, all I got to say about this is when the news came out that it was 3 hours long and everybody was like, how are we going to do this? Every Lord of the Rings fan said, hold my beer.
Literally hold my beer. Shit, yeah.
Is there an intermission? What am I going to do?
Sit through and watch all of the extended and the behind the scenes stuff for Lord of the
All
Rings.
right, I've done it.
Yo,
I've
I'm
got-
getting
I've
old.
got
I
the
can't
box
even
sets
sit
where
through
they're
a
this
2 hour
bad.
movie without taking a leak, man. This is just getting ridiculous now.
We're old, Tim.
One
That's how it
additional
works for us.
I know, man.
Look, I'm with you guys. I can wear Depends comfortably.
Hey, wait. Time out, JD. It's not depends. In this reality, it's now known as depend.
Yeah. Hey guys, I just realized I have not fed my dog yet. It's 8:30 my time, so I need to go feed my dog, walk my dog, and do all the good stuff. And I just want to say thank you for having me on. It's been a blast, and I hope I can do it again sometime soon, fellas.
So much, T-Bro.
All right, thanks, man.
And ladies, sorry about that.
We're good.
And as always, it's a pleasure. You are an inspiration for about everybody on this panel.
I appreciate it, man. You
Great,
guys
man.
keep
We love
doing
your
what
time.
you guys doing, and keep digging in them long boxes.
There you go. Thanks, Tim. All right, Chad, what's Mark eating?
Ice cream.
Dub-
Show,
I knew.
show 'em.
I said it earlier. I said it earlier in the chat. I said if Mark goes off camera, it's 30% to get a drink. It's 70% to get something to eat because he eats every week.
I know. Like,
Always
I
I want some ice cream.
Toy Story for the ice cream. Is that what that is?
So
Yeah.
I guess it's a good time to kind of
Don't get me on that shirt.
all the new shows
Hopefully, I don't get you a copy.
or the vision of where we're going.
Every day.
All right. So, Chad, thank you very much for joining us now for the launch of Comic Core every day, every damn night. We're going to be on the telly. And that's what it is. Everybody remembers words science. Every damn night. We're going to be on Mondays. There will be a show on Monday. What do we have on Mondays? We've got the list with John's Comic Kids. Going to be running the list. Tuesdays, it's going to be alternating Tuesdays between, and I got a new show to announce. We've got Golden Guys, which just aired. Every other week, it's going to be Golden Guys, followed by To Slab or Not to Slab. It's a comeback show that was originally on Tony Sanders, which Tony Sanders is going to be hosting that show for us. Wednesdays, of course, is the Unlimited crew. Thursdays is going to be Cat Ren.
No. It's going to be Alec.
Oh, well, get to
getting
We
recap.
got so many damn shows we can't even keep track of them anymore.
Cat Ren. It's Cat Ren and Chad will be releasing a video as well as a live show with Alec, Comics Head 84, Caleb, and who else is on that show? That's the reading one.
Smurf.
Smurf.
Cat-
Smurf. Caleb Smurf, Comic Head 84.
Chad.
Chad MF.
Chad 90 miles. Chad 90 miles.
90 MF Chad. And Friday, of course, is off the rails. And Saturday, once a month, we'll be doing an auction, I believe, Carson.
Yeah. Yep.
And-
Actually, speaking of that, that's this Saturday. At
Let
9 p.m.
me-
Eastern.
Hey,
you
hey,
mind if I play a little
hey,
video for that?
hey, JB.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Question about that video before you go play it. Have you checked it for the copyright?
I don't care.
Hey, JB. Comics Books NYC says you got to start a new channel just to explain the Comic Core schedule.
Oh, well,
Right?
But the goal
Let me screen
of the
share this
Comic
right
Core is going to have 2 shows per night per
Right.
day.
I mean, like we said earlier, if Chad said when he first came on, if anybody wants to do a show, let us know.
Okay. Yep. Let us know. Let me see if this works right now. And enjoy some Lemmy singing Bowie.
Oh, I'm definitely not putting that on the
Nice
show.
knowing you
Is it working?
Hold on, I'll do it.
JB's like, no way.
I'll do it.
Dude, I got hit with my first copyright with his last Golden Girls spot.
On the background.
Yeah, but you didn't get a strike. You just got a
Listen,
someone's
I own-
monetizing this.
I own that rights to that song. I paid those guys $2. They don't even know who they are. They're good.
Hold on. I got it.
Thank you for being a friend.
That's my closing on Golden Guys. That's my close on Golden Guys. You got it, Chad?
I'm getting to it. It's going to take me
Well,
a second.
while Chad's doing that, let's get to the chat because we got Joe Ryan Comics. This is JD wrote the Golden Girls theme.
He wrote
That
it.
sounds right. That wasn't surprising. We got Robert the comic G-Spot Galvin. What's going on, Galvin? Love seeing some Galvin in the chat. You know who else we love? We love Mr. Media Mailman himself, Jason Smith, hanging in the chat. We also have waiting for an auction promo because he's probably in it. Ooh, Manchu, what's going on? We got R.J. Taylor. He says he wants a show. All right, well, we can definitely help you with that because, hey, right now we're going to have a 24-hour stream of me bagging and boarding eventually. So
We also have a show of me and Mark. I think we have to figure out the date, but it's just going to be me watching Mark eat things.
Yep.
Oh, since Joe Ryan's been here since the beginning, I know he said he would flat out watch Chad and I fight for 3 hours a day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who else we got?
I don't got it in me anymore, bro.
We got Prowler
Yeah, I'll win.
71. He says he's wearing that Mood Stand t-shirt. Love it, Prowler. Thank you so much. We got, this is a cool name. We got Rye the Pop Guy. What's going on, Rye?
Nice.
Love that name. We got JP's Budget Collecting, one of the best new channels out there, JP's Budget Collecting. We got
Star Wars piece.
from Unlimited on Wednesday nights, Comics Misexplained.
Gone too soon.
24/7.
Tell me when you're ready.
Not too soon.
Ready.
And we got a couple of
Drew says
Go ahead.
Chad
Mark,
wanted to
don't
fight
get ice
him.
cream on that shirt.
And TJ, the Slab Dragon Watson's here as well as Brandon Stalinsky. Great seeing him. All right, Chad.
Hey, Liz has got that unlimited shirt on. Where's the regular? Where's the Friday?
I think
Click on it.
I think we're using it to wash the car. Is that what we're doing?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll get more shirts. We're going to get more shirts. We promise. Chad, you ready to share that?
He's sharing it. It's just got no music.
Tell me when you're ready.
We're ready. Play the music.
All right, here it goes. I hope it plays the music.
No music.
That's all right, though. You know, those Facebook shares. But check out all these cool books, people.
Look, Deadpool.
On 420, the date that Evo was born, 420, you got all these books coming out in tomorrow night's auction. Swamp Things, Hulks, all your books. The Demon, Jack Kirby. The Galaxy, issue #1 from the 90s. Look at all the Thanos love. Is Drew Manchu, is that his collection? Oh, there it is. Daredevil.
There it is.
Oh, Animosity.
Yeah.
Animosity.
Oh, Oblivion Song. That's some good stuff. Ooh, Seventh Attorney. Mr. Miracle. That 12-issue series is hot. Magic Order, people. Death of Wolverine signed editions. Look, is that Naomi? I mean,
Oh,
Naomi.
there's
Ooh, a
Venom.
bag signed Venom.
Damn. Venom. Stan the Man. Look at this. Ooh, We Are Venom. Dude, look at all that. Dude, a 9/8.
Many
Ooh,
more.
We got a
mysteries.
mystery.
Ooh.
All right,
Nice.
JD,
Well
Drew
done.
Manchu, Comic Spectre, Woodard, Houdat, and somebody else.
Wait,
Oh, there it is.
All right,
The
Chad.
Shield.
All right, thank you everybody for watching that. We'll be doing a live auction tomorrow night on the Comic Core channel, hosted by C. Woodard Newsstand himself.
If he can
9
get out of
p.m.
work.
Eastern.
So,
All right.
if not gone too soon.
I think I might be the only person who heard that music. It was really good.
it's such.
I heard it earlier. I heard it earlier when I watched it.
We can be heroes.
Yeah, it's
You're telling me
One
I can play 18 seconds of that without getting striked?
No, you can play the whole thing because it's just looped the same shit over and over again. It's all good, man. Lemmy's dead.
Hey,
Both of them.
He has heirs that like money.
JB, you just need to learn to embrace the strike. The first
Yeah,
one is
you're not
the
gonna
first one is always shocking, and you're like,
yeah,
oh
it
my
was definitely
God.
shocking. I
Cat,
was
can I
like,
never
pay you?
gonna hit-
Cat, can I pay you a
You'll never
compliment?
hit-
You look wonderful this evening, Cat.
She needs a scarf though.
She's on mute.
And your wife, I'm Chad.
That's Liz Petrovsky,
Hey,
Hello.
Liz,
Liz,
it's very nice to meet
also
you.
known as Zatanna.
Hey,
Yep.
Liz,
and,
Liz,
and former basketball player.
Here's the thing. How about if Liz
Shit, I
and
love
Kat
basketball.
get to pick the people that we're taking to Baltimore?
Okay. Yeah. That means you're not.
If you want to go to Baltimore, you have to make an entry video, and Liz and Kat have to be the one that chooses. Because
No
I mean,
pressure,
I'm always the nice guy.
Yes, that's very nice.
But look,
I like it.
we-
I think we would do a great job as well.
yeah.
And we got this.
Look at her.
Yeah.
Shirt. That's the shirt you wanted.
Yeah, I love her shirt.
Wednesday, bitch.
Did she see the video?
He got me this shirt. But
I want to get.
Yeah, represent.
this shirt a little bit more.
I'm trying to get.
JB, I'm gonna pay JB a compliment.
Oh,
JB,
yeah.
your content and the format that you're trying to do. Today's video that you showed up on my phone, so good. And dude, you are putting in some fucking work, bro. I mean,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
is there a massage envy out that way? Because I think the Common Core needs to pay this man to get a rub and
I
tug.
think the
rub down.
last massage someone had was in Chinatown with that black ass horse.
So here's a question I have for
The high
JB.
horse.
With the change in the focus of your show to highlighting what was on the next day,
Or the day before.
yeah, or the day before.
Mhm.
Do you think people are gonna more aim for getting noticed on your show as a show from the previous day, or are you still expecting people are gonna be like, "Hey, JB, I've got this show coming up"?
Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Something I forgot to mention on the Bueller show that maybe I can mention it here. 2 days ago, when I did the ad for Golden Guys,
Right.
that was the third video that was submitted to me because I had Fantastic Comics did a 1-minute spot on his "We recovered $100,000 worth of stolen comics." He submitted that. I grabbed that video from you, and there was a third one where someone did. Oh, Bear Island had submitted. He sent me his own spot. That's the future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bear
Right
Right now,
Island's awesome.
like tomorrow, I've already got my spot for the auction.
Oh,
Whether I use that
okay.
music or not,
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's going to be simple. I talk the spot, and boom, I get to play this. Nobody can make a better a promo for you than you. And if you guys make me a promo 5 days a week, it's going to get played 5 days a week. We'll have one for every day.
So we've got some of the most talented people in the Comic Core and in the comic book community, and like I said, it's a fucking family, and it's got to stay a family. And
Even though
you-
Chad's a dick.
yeah,
Oh, I'm not having this now. I'm
Be
not.
nice, both of you.
listen, I want to go ahead and say this. Like, Bueller's conversation with me this week was pretty cool. He said, if you got to say something, say it right to the person. So I think I did that. He text messaged me some things since then, and I'm not going to say what they were. But I miss having Bueller on the show. Like, he's kind of like a dick to me. Like, he was a dick to me. Like, not in general, just just to me.
Finish the thought, Chad, because people got things running through their heads right now.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
You know what? You shouldn't have done laundry. I mean, because he can fucking scream pretty loud.
So I need somebody to fill that void right now. And hey, JP.
Rockin' JP.
You want to be my new Bueller?
JB?
JB. I said JB.
It's a JB.
I have a
I think he
list.
said J.
Next week.
I said there are too many damn J's in the fucking.
Use our made-up names, would you please?
JB, will you please join the Comic Corps and take that empty seat there because you give some levity to the crew.
JB or JP?
Motherfucker, I said JB.
Somebody write it down, please.
Discovery Bay. All right,
Discovery.
talking about the man from San Fran. All right, that's the land. He's here.
Yes. I will
backing
accept that
boards from our
seat.
price book.
Yeah,
Okay, so with that
He's
being
wearing
said,
the right shirt.
we've been on here. You guys have been on for an hour and almost 2 hours. I think it's time to wrap this shit up. Go to an off air. Because
Shield, Echo, Delta,
I want to say one thing.
Brandon from American Airlines.
Hold on.
I wanna
JD
share
has
one
one
thing.
more thing to say.
Look, JB Discovery Bay Comics is the catalyst of our community. He provides us with a service. And when we would talk about Patreons, I think something got misconstrued. I'm not against Patreons whatsoever. I actually am a supporter of several people on Patreon. 2 people are on this panel right now, and 2 others are in the chat right now. So I do support people on Patreons because I do believe provide a quality service. And something that's giving to the community, you deserve a Patreon. Paul's doing
Just
it.
come up with your own. Come
Well,
up with your own spiel about it. Don't copy.
I hope JB is okay with me talking about this, but when he did his Patreon,
really likes you.
I was like, I'm thinking about doing one where I give away pressings, as part of the Patreon.
Blah 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 pressings.
Lick my taint. And he said,
I'm getting depressed just listening to you.
Mean.
I'm just kidding. I love you, brother. Love
Keep
Paul.
going, Paul.
he said you're providing a service. So he says, I don't know why I'm doing it. And I said, dude, I don't care what anybody tells you. You are providing a service. And he does provide a service to our community.
And that's
With the money you make, buy a pillow and get some fucking sleep.
Exactly.
Well, one thing he was talking earlier about, and I said we've got an endless supply of shit to throw his way for things like 48%.
Oh my god.
I just want to shout out to Discovery Bay one more time, just to say everybody that his Patreon means something to us, to me personally. That I found out he did a Patreon. I didn't know how to do it. I asked him how to do it. He said, just go to my site. I wanted to just shout out his Patreon, the reason why. Without him, I wouldn't know what to watch, and I found so many new channels. Even today, I found a guy that I haven't seen in 8 months. Before I even started my YouTube, I used to follow this guy. He reached out to me and said, hey, man, it's great. He does a lot of CGC on. He reached out to me and said, thank you very much. I said, hey, if it wasn't for JB, I would never have found this. So I think you might get a few more Patreons, and you well deserved. You're a giver and not a taker. And that's the whole rule of what we got here.
That's what I look in my prostitutes.
Andy makes a good whiskey and coke.
I bet you do. I bet you.
My small. Okay, so I'm going to take us out with one last thing, and we're not going to go through the whole panel. Guys, if you want to know what's on our channels, go to Discovery Bay, and that's the bottom line because I said so. Here's what I got to say. I reached out to my fam. The family is on this panel. I talked to these guys last night. You guys got me through some hard shit. Legend, you got me through some shit in the past. Carson, you have. Kat, you're my sister.
She's my daughter.
We be careful.
So you're my son.
That's weird. But I love you guys.
I'll take Legend as a dad. I'll accept that.
I love you guys more than anything in the world. The stuff that is coming in the Comic Corps is going to be amazing. There's a lot of stuff coming in the way. Again, I will reiterate, Comic Corps is not the police.
Yeah,
We
this
are
isn't
not
Green Lantern, people.
We are not the police, but there are 3 brothers in this Corps you don't want to fuck with because
Bravo, Elko, Delta.
Good night, guys. I'm throwing the link in the chat. This thing's coming down from the rafters.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to Comic Core, all Corrals, and having a good time.
Alpha, bravo.
This was a very important show for everybody. Thanks again for everybody coming in. Peace.
Wonder.